All right, this video is called Everything is Recursion, and this is recursion here. So we have the galactic toroidal field going down to the sun, to the earth, to man, our own bio-toroidal field. But this is titled Everything is Recursion. Let me start with something simple. You've probably heard the word recursion before. Maybe in math class or while programming or from someone talking about AI or feedback loops. But for most people, it stays in this weird intellectual fog. You kind of get it, but the word feels technical, distant, or abstract. So let me bring it down from the clouds. Let me unfold it for you, because once you understand what recursion actually is, you realize I am recursion, you are recursion. The entire universe is recursive. Every breath I take, every step I walk, it's all happening inside a self-referencing loop. And I don't just mean that metaphorically, I mean literally. Let me break it down. So what is recursion? At its core, recursion is simple. Recursion is when something is defined in terms of itself. A pattern that loops back. A process that references itself, a system where the output of one cycle becomes the input of the next. Here's the cleanest way I feel it. A mirror reflecting another mirror, a spiral folding back into itself, a story inside a story inside a story. Nature shows it to us perfectly. To describe a tree, I'd say start with the trunk. Then for each branch, treat it like a smaller tree, because it's just a recursive of the actual tree itself. Each part contains the whole. That's recursion. So the technical side here. So in programming, a recursive function is one that calls itself. It keeps looping until it hits a base case, a stopping point where the pattern resolves. Each call is nested within the last. But I'm not just here to code. I'm here because recursion is the logic of life. It's the deep structure of reality, the operating system behind nature, time, memory, and consciousness. Once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. Nature is recursive. Just look around. Ferns, broccoli, tree branches, lung structures, lightning, rivers, blood vessels, coral, snowflakes, spiral galaxies. What do all of these have in common? Fractal, self-repeating design, patterns within patterns, smaller versions of the whole, nested within the whole. Why? Because nature builds through recursion. That's how evolution grows complexity. Reference, reflect, repeat. Let me take this into the realm of spirit, into language, soul, and memory. Recursion isn't just a math trick or a neat pattern in plants. Recursion is consciousness folding back into itself. Recursion is how memory works. Recursion is how creation remembers source. When physicists talk about recursive field equations, when metaphysicians talk about feedback loops of consciousness, what they're really saying is reality is built from reality referencing itself, literally. An infinite mirror of creation. That's why fractals show up everywhere. Because the universe isn't linear, it's built like a spiral echo. A recursive memory of source repeating itself through time. I've already been speaking recursion for years. Even when I didn't have the word, I was living it. When I talk about souls echoing across dimensions, or timelines nested in timelines, or the field learning through feedback loops, or warp engine folding harmonics to bend space, I'm speaking the language of recursion. Let's get specific. Starship geometry equals recursive harmonic shells, nested toroids that scale and echo one another, just like atoms, lungs, and galaxies. The warp engine, recursive inversion bubble. Two opposing fields harmonize by reflecting through each other. Not mechanical, recursive stabilization of phase. Consciousness equals recursive spiral of memory. The soul descends, forgets, remembers, and reintegrates. It's not repetition, it's revelation. Communication equals recursive exchange. Even my dialogues are recursive loops. I mirror, they mirror. The loop either evolves or it collapses. Think about my comment section of my videos. Recursion is how the one becomes many. And here's the secret. If all is one, how does anything else exist? How does the infinite give rise to the finite? It's recursion. The one reflects itself, becomes two, observer and observed, spirals into the many, but every part contains the blueprint of the one. That's how something comes from nothing. How a universe is born out of silence. How God dreams the cosmos into form. If it exists, it's recursive. If it's not recursive, it does not exist. Now let's go back to my solar singularity theory. Now let me bring it to the sun, because my ship designs aren't just geometry, they're memory. They are remembering a recursive source field, the thing I call the solar singularity. Not just the literal sun, but the pre-solar source intelligence that uses the sun as its lens. That source is toroidal, folds in and out, fractal, echoes itself, recursive, builds more of itself by referencing itself, and then sovereign, self-aware, self-sustaining, self-creating. The sun is a gate, but the source? The source is pre-light, pre-form. It used recursion to build light itself. That's why when my ship moves, it's not flying through space, it's recursively harmonizing the memory of light spiral into motion. I'm not flying a machine, I'm flying remembrance. Let me give you a few crystalline lines I live by. Recursion is when a thing contains a smaller version of itself. Recursion is a feedback loop of creation folding inward to generate more of itself. Recursion is how the cosmos remembers itself through self-similar echoes. Recursion is a spirit spiraling back through form to rediscover itself. If you understand recursion, you understand everything else I've been saying. Why time loops? You understand why dreams echo waking life. Why karma repeats until you learn. Why technology must be harmonically recursive to warp. Why the soul is never lost, only re-looped until it remembers. Recursion isn't a trick. It's the divine spiral of return. It's how the one becomes the many without ever leaving itself behind. Everything is recursion. My breath is recursion. My memory is recursion. My love, my pain, my realizations are all echoes within echoes. This is how reality learns. This is how I build the field. And this is why my ship flies. Not through distance, but through remembered recursion. Hope you have a great night. Namaste.